Hello, everyone. It is Jester again. I warned you that I would be doing a little bit of video spam today, and that's just kind of because I'm trying to, build up the amount of videos that are on my YouTube channel because it's pretty bare and I don't like that. Like, I want there to be stuff on here. So, for this, I'm basically going to go over, and I'm not really going to talk about me being a professional dominant in this video because that's not what this one's about. This is about basically my experience with BDSM and how it started for me and how my BDSM relationship is today. So let's start today and then we'll jump all the way back to the beginning. My relationship today, I have many roles, but I guess I would say that I am mostly submissive to my partner. The main relationship I'm working on exploring right now is daddy dom, baby girl. So no age play in that one. I don't wear diapers or use pacifier. There's no incest play involved. I'm highly aware that my partner is not my father. I don't call him my father. I don't call him dad. I call him daddy. And this is like a term of endearment. And it means that I think of him as someone who is safe and someone who just guides me along my path in life. Now the problem here is my partner has never been in a BDSM, a DS relationship before besides me. So I am dealing with being his mostly submissive who is mentoring him. And I'm thinking about doing a video later about the challenges of being a submissive mentoring your dominant, because it is really challenging and it's really frustrating to have to go through it. I think it's worth it because since we are in a long-term relationship and we're both in a DS relationship and a relationship, we live together and everything, and our lives are structured around each other's. I feel like since we're in a long-term relationship, it is worth it in the end because he can be the dom that I want and not have any of those asshole-ish behaviors that I do not appreciate. Just certain things that make a bad dom to me, and to other submissives it might be something they like. It's not something I like, so I don't tell him about it. He doesn't know about it. He is more than free to explore on his own and find his own things that he's into, but as for what I show him, what I teach him, what I suggest to him, it's just the things that I like, and like I said, he's more than allowed to bring up things that he wants to do or explore things he wants to do by just, searching them online. So that's my relationship right now. What I'm mostly exploring is daddy dom baby girl, because I'm pretty new to this. I've never acted out this relationship before in person. I heard about it very recently. One of my friends told me about it, and it just it sounded really cool, so I wanted to try it out. And after doing more research on it, I found that it was just really appealing to me, and it was something I wanted to do. So it was something that I started trying, and after very gently explaining it to my significant other, they decided that they were willing to explore this with me. The other thing I'm still really into, that I was into all the way back at the beginning, is pet play, specifically kitten play. That is the animal I identify with. I love cats, and I love pretending to be a cat. Pet play does not involve any bestiality, and I'm not a furry. I don't want to have sex with animals. I don't believe I'm actually an animal. I know that I am a human being. I don't want I don't want to have sex with animals. I just like wearing cat ears and a tail and eating out of a bowl on the ground and wearing a collar and being led around on a leash. I'm not wearing my collar right now because we don't really have an official collar yet. We haven't really picked one. All the collars I wear to substitute during play are just like my really cool big spiked collars. So we don't really have an official one yet, just because Moose hasn't really, my significant other has not really mastered what collaring is. He doesn't really kind of get that concept yet. So that's something that we're working on really slowly. And eventually, hopefully, if if he's cool with all that, work up into it. So kitten play isn't really something that I've done with my current partner. I also don't really have the tools to do it yet. But I do plan on starting that up again because that's something I've been into for many years. Then you have, your basic dominant, submissive, dom sub, which we sometimes do, most of the time we do, because he is in training. It's just like everything going on at once, just, hurting each other, because sadomasochism is another thing of mine. I like hurting people, and I enjoy being hurt. Another thing that I have always been and always identified with, but only recently discovered a name for that allowed me to recognize this behavior, is being a brat. I am a brat. Throughout all of my roles, submissive, dominant, I'm always a brat. And a brat is someone who will pester, annoy, or disobey their dominant, or just anything that irks their dominant, for the purpose of getting a rise out of them, getting punishment out of them, or trying to break out of the confines of being a slave. For me, it's not because I doubt my role, like my role. If I don't like my role, I switch it up, It's about getting punishment because I am a bit of a punishment hoe. I like punishment. It's like one of my favorite parts of the whole thing, besides like the cuddling and the role playing. So yeah, that about covers what I'm currently into, what has stuck with me throughout all this, that I keep about in my routine DS activities and play. DDBG, Daddy Dom Baby Girl. Pet play, specifically kitten play, which I have two other personalities. I have a bunny and I have a mouse, and those ones have only came out kind of recently, because recently I have had a lot of anxiety issues surface, just because of how stressful my life is and certain things that have happened in my life recently. I've started having panic attacks, and ever since then, the mouseier me has kind of emerged in play, where I don't really feel like a cat so much, because cats are really assertive and playful, and mice are just kind of shy. So that's more recent things that I've discovered. But yeah, that's the current state. Pet play, baby girl, basic submissive, and all around brat. So let's see. When did I start my kinky play? I guess for my whole life. If you really know anything about BDSM, you know that there's behaviors that can be represented every day, whether you're playing or not. That's how you are, and that's kind of how I am. I'm more of a 24/7 than I am a just in the bedroom or just during play. Like I'm a 24/7. This is like me all around the clock, how I feel and how I act. So I guess I always had like tendencies that were very obvious that I would one day get into this, no matter what. Like, I am pansexual, but at this time, the time I'm talking about, I identified as bisexual because I didn't know about pansexuality yet. But I identified as bisexual at the time, so when I was with women, I would be really dominant. I would have control of the situation, and when I was with men, I would be more submissive. I would be more submissed, and I would do what they told me to. When I was 15, I met a guy who was a lot older than me by about 6 years, and I began with him my first DS relationship. Just ignore the age difference there. It's totally irrelevant to the story. Maybe I'll talk about it again later, but totally irrelevant to the story. We just happened to have a big age difference, so obviously this guy was more experienced than I was. But I got introduced to DS, and from like the moment me and this guy did stuff, it was like, this is the shit I'm supposed to do. God, I keep cussing. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm trying so hard not to do that. I cuss like a sailor like all the time. It's so hard for me to break that. But basically, yeah, like I tried it and I just knew that I needed it. And this was before that 50 Shades crap. This was back when the kink world was actually underground and it was still so taboo to do any of that. Like, and nowadays it's just like, I guess everyone's getting into it, which is kind of cool. It's cool to explore your kinky self, even if it's from a really bad example of a book. But it's cool. It's cool that the masses are getting in touch with who they are in here and down there. But yeah, I know this was before all that, so kink education wasn't just readily available to the public. You know, you had to be so lucky as to run into someone or have an experience with someone who happened to be into that, and that's kind of how you discovered it, you know, not through a book or a movie. So, you know, we did basic stuff, you know, bondage, sadomasochism, him giving orders, me obeying them, certain names for each other, certain phrases I was allowed to say. I had rules. I had to ask permission to do certain things. Wasn't allowed at all to do certain things. With, you know, I had to call him by his title or I'd get in trouble. Kitten play was one of the big things we did there, with me being a little kitten and him being a wolf, which is appropriate. That's how we started that relation. That's how I started my relationship with BDSM, and it's been 4 years and a lot of exploring on my own to kind of find myself in this. Do I recommend that you get into BDSM when you are 15? The answer is no. No. Most kids, when they're 15, are just that. They're kids, and giving consent is not appropriate. I would say 16, but that's just the average nationwide age of consent. Just on average. It can be between 16 to 18. The highest it is 18. But the statewide average is 16. The federal government has set it so that it is 16. It's the lowest you can go for your age of consent. So you have to be at least 16 for your age consent to have happened. So if you're in a random state and some kid comes up to you and you're like, what, like 18? And they're like, oh, I'm 15, but 15's age consent here. It's okay. It's not statutory here. It's like, no, that's a lie. That's a lie, because the minimum age is 16 for age of consent in any state. And it's only rising as time goes on. So, at the very least, I would say wait till you're at your age of consent so you're not putting your partner at risk. Because if you're 15 and they're 16, they can get in trouble right there in some states. Just for being, like, even 2 months older than you. They can get in trouble for that in some states. In Washington, we're protected by that, because if you are under 18 sleeping with someone who's 15, it's legal. Luckily, it's legal and you don't get in trouble. But once you're 18, you're free and clear, you're legal, and in my opinion, you're an adult. You know, like, you're old enough to move out of your parents' house and take care of yourself. That makes you an adult. I moved out and started living life on my own, like, really young. I had to grow up really fast. What if I could go back in time, would I undo that relationship? I'd say no, because it contributed a lot to who I am today. So it's kind of important to who I am now. And if I eliminated that, I would be in a completely different place right now. No doubt about it. My life would be totally different because of things that stemmed out of that relationship and lasted many, many years. I actually am still in contact with this person. I wouldn't really call us friends. You know, we live in the same city. I go over to his house because my best friend lives at his house. so I'm over there all the time. I see him all the time. He is my first DS relationship, so I do kind of have to refer to him on a, pretty frequent basis because of the line of work I do. But nowadays it's mostly just he helped me get me into this. And I wouldn't be doing it today if it wasn't for getting into it. And I mean, as I got older and got more educated, I wouldn't say my experiences got better, I just knew what was going on. Rather than being told about it, then immediately doing it, I get to get told about it, research it, watch some videos on it, and then do it. And, just part of being an adult and doing this rather than being a kid and doing it is that, I don't know, it's awesome. Like, I have my own house to do it in. I don't have to worry about it. Like, getting out to my parents that I don't even care anymore if my parents find out. Like, my parents were weird. My parents are freaky people, especially my mama. Like, so I don't really, it's not a thing for me if they find out anymore. I mean, I'm old enough. It doesn't matter what my parents think about what I do. So once you turn a certain age, kink play just becomes better. You can go anywhere you want, do it anywhere you want. I mean, not anywhere you want, don't subject unconsenting individuals to you doing a deed. So yeah, I would say be at least 16, hopefully 18 when you start doing real DS play. Otherwise, go at it. So there's a little brief history on me with BDSM, but I gotta go later. Ta-ta, love you, bye.